I'm very excited about being here with you to kick off this Roof Over Our Head roundtable. What I'm most excited about here is that we're not talking about a top-down imposition of a solution from some fancy think tank in the sky, but we're talking about informal communities and the women in those communities as empowered agents of change, not passive recipients. I know they can't do it on their own. I know we need a radical collaboration, as we always say, but I think it starts with recognizing the agency of involving those in the front line who are the most motivated to find solutions.
Every government comes, same pledges, same promises, none fulfilled. We just keep on shifting the goalposts in terms of providing solutions to poor people in informal settlements. How do we involve poor communities in their pursuit for affordable shelter, in the planning, in the design? How do we make them that own these processes for housing intervention?
We are working in 102 registered community associations of urban poor communities in the Philippines, occupying lands along coastlines, river embankment, flood-prone areas, lands below a power transmission line along railroad tracks. So those are the communities I represent, where the membership came from. Do not get me wrong. We all want solutions that are based in science, but in our experience, most of the scientific solutions without the input of the most vulnerable groups tend to not fit our context.
From our view, the technology to improve housing is available. This is more of a process issue. It's a policy issue. It's a financing issue. We often say housing is a process, not a product. The building materials are there. The technologies are there. We've got to overcome these policy bottlenecks, facilitate access to financing, and always put people at the center, enable them to make decisions about materials and architecture and what's done with their home.
The quality of housing is a super big issue, but I've heard great success stories from the advocacy angle, from the policy angle. And I guess if we get the right shifts in policies to enable and understand that there is no climate goal without addressing informality, there will be just bringing that awareness and bringing the arguments front and center. Many other countries will take inspiration. Cities will take inspiration, which they can act much quickly. But we do have a few success stories, and we need much more. We need millions of those.
And I think the building material have a huge role to play in providing proper roofs on everyone's heads. But also what holds him is not just being the biggest building material company in the world. We are a bunch of countries, of operations in the countries. And I thought what Theresa said earlier, that we need to work with a local actor to understand the local solutions, was very important. And I think this is where also we can really contribute.
The foundation for everything we do has to be land tenure, ownership, and no evictions. If you don't get that right, everything else will fail. And that's been the big learning for me.
A lot of the consequences that will be faced as an effect of climate change will be faced in slums, in informal settlements.
I'm sure we all agree about the need to take a genuinely locally led approach. I think the flip side of that is, how do we do that at scale?
I think one of the key challenges is how can engineers work with local communities, particularly engineers who work in the international development space, to really implement those local solutions.
The word everyone, everywhere is blowing my mind because this is something not easy to be achieved. And I do believe that the inclusivity of everyone, everywhere, especially that in a lot of areas in the MENA region, we are suffering from the informal settlements everywhere. And these people have the power to change their lives by their own hand. They just need our support and our help.
In Palestine, I can draw some attention to the people, to indigenous people living in some areas where they have like to protect the land. You know, Palestine have the occupation thing. If we have a voice in this, I would love to draw some attention to these people and how we can help them.
Climate change is the most important thing for the floods in southern part and northern part of Yemen, in many ways, in hunger, climate change, food, poverty. We have to do it right way, our campaign for Yemen, and I hope all organizations will help on that. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
A very, very deep thank you for all of you for the time you've spent reflecting on this situation and actually bringing the serious gravitas that this issue requires, but also acknowledging, as the last speaker said, that the real threat to the world are the conflicts and the wars and the ongoing global challenges that decimate every development investment that happens, which are further exacerbated by climate. But the important thing is, it's never going to come out of any one person's smart initiative. It's going to come out of this new transformatory partnership process, which we all have to learn together.
But I think we have a real opportunity between now and COP to build our collective story and have that story of the launch of the roof over our heads, of the need and the opportunity to be one of the big stories that comes out of COP27, and use that to launch a concerted effort of radical collaboration for the rest of the decade to make a difference with and for the lives of those most vulnerable in our urban environment. So Sheela and everybody here, thank you so much for all your big hearts, your big minds, and your pragmatic hands that you bring to this. I'm really excited to be working with you all to make this a success. Thank you.